The rain had stopped just moments ago, leaving the city streets shimmering under the soft golden light of a late autumn afternoon. The café's wide glass windows were misted over, blurring the world outside into a watercolor of amber leaves and passing silhouettes. Inside, the warm scent of freshly brewed coffee mingled with the faint sweetness of cinnamon pastries. At a corner table, a woman in a tailored charcoal gray suit sat stiffly, her hands wrapped around a mug she had barely touched. Her name was Isabelle Moreau, a name that often appeared in business magazines, whispered in boardrooms, and respected in corporate corridors. People called her the Iron CEO, decisive, composed, unshakable. But today, she was none of those things. Across from her sat a little girl, perhaps 9 years old, with soft brown hair falling over her shoulders and eyes that seemed older than her years. Her name was Emily. She was silent, not just in that moment, but always. Born with a condition that had taken away her voice, Emily had learned to live in a world where sounds existed for others, but never for her. She could hear faintly but not enough to understand words clearly. Isabelle had hired countless therapists, specialists, and tutors over the years, each promising a miracle. None had worked. The girl communicated through shy gestures, the occasional written note, and the quiet poetry of her eyes. Isabelle had built empires, negotiated billion-dollar deals, and faced ruthless competitors without flinching, but when it came to her daughter, she often felt powerless. Every day, guilt whispered that she wasn't doing enough. Every night, she replayed the same question in her mind: was she failing as a mother? Today was supposed to be a rare moment of calm between them, just a simple afternoon in a café, away from board meetings and the constant demands of Isabelle's high-powered life. Yet even here, silence hung between them like glass, fragile, unbroken, and heavy. Isabelle smiled gently at Emily, trying to coax some warmth into the air, but the little girl's gaze kept drifting to the window. Before we continue, if you believe in kindness, in second chances, and in the magic of human connection, please take a moment to like this video, subscribe to Kindness Thread, and share it with someone who needs a reminder that even the smallest gestures can change a life. Your support helps us share more stories that warm hearts and inspire change. Isabelle was stirring her coffee absent-mindedly when the café door opened, letting in a gust of crisp air and the scent of wet leaves. A man stepped inside, his presence unassuming yet somehow grounding. He was in his late 30s, wearing a weathered brown jacket over a plain sweater, with hair that fell slightly into his eyes. He ordered something at the counter, then scanned the café for a seat. When he spotted the empty table near Isabelle and Emily, he walked over with an easy smile and asked if they minded him sitting nearby. Isabelle barely nodded, her mind still half occupied by a looming business decision she had to make later that evening. But Emily's eyes, usually cautious around strangers, fixed on the man with quiet curiosity. He sat down, placing a small paper cup on the table, and for a few minutes there was nothing unusual about the scene. He sipped his coffee, glanced out the window, and took out a notebook from his bag. Then it happened, a moment so unexpected that Isabelle's breath caught in her throat. She noticed the man looking at Emily, his expression warm but not intrusive. Slowly, he raised his hands, and began to sign. At first, Isabelle thought it was a coincidence, perhaps some absent-minded gesture. But then she saw Emily's eyes widen, a flicker of light breaking through her usual guardedness. The man's fingers moved gracefully, spelling out words in American Sign Language. Isabelle recognized only a little of it. "Hello, nice to meet you," but she saw her daughter's face transform. Emily's hands, hesitant at first, began to respond. Isabelle froze. She had never seen Emily engage with someone outside their small circle of specialists so quickly, so openly. It was as if an invisible wall had cracked, and sunlight was streaming through. The man's signing wasn't just functional, it was expressive, gentle, carrying a rhythm that made it feel like conversation in its purest form. Minutes passed, and Isabelle found herself forgotten in their exchange, watching as Emily signed faster, her movements becoming more confident. She even smiled, not the polite, guarded smile she wore for the world, but a real one, warm and unrestrained. When the man finally looked up at Isabel, he gave a small apologetic shrug and signed, "I hope you don't mind." Isabel shook her head quickly, words tangled somewhere between gratitude and disbelief. Her voice felt tight when she finally managed to ask how he knew sign language. The man's gaze softened. "My son," he said quietly. "He was deaf. We lost him 2 years ago. But I promised myself I'd never stop speaking his language." The weight of his words lingered between them. Isabel felt something shift inside her. The walls she had built around herself to survive the relentless demands of her life began to crack. She told him about Emily, about the endless specialists, about her fear that her daughter would always live in a bubble she couldn't reach. The man, his name was Daniel, listened without judgment, his attention steady and kind. Over the next hour, Daniel taught Isabel small phrases in sign language while Emily laughed silently at her mother's clumsy attempts. The café, with its hum of quiet conversation and the soft clatter of cups, faded into the background. For the first time in years, Isabel wasn't thinking about her company, her next meeting, or her next decision. She was simply present, with her daughter, with a stranger who understood her world in a way she hadn't expected. As they prepared to leave, Emily signed something to Daniel that Isabel didn't understand. Daniel smiled, then translated softly. She said, "Thank you for talking to me." That night, as Isabel tucked Emily into bed, she couldn't shake the feeling that their lives had just shifted in some quiet but powerful way. She began learning sign language in earnest, practicing every evening with Emily. And over time, the girl who once kept her words locked inside found herself opening to the world. Weeks later, Isabel and Daniel crossed paths again, intentionally this time. Coffee became a weekly ritual, then walks in the park, then something deeper. It wasn't about romance at first, it was about understanding, about building a bridge between two worlds of silence and loss, and finding joy on the other side. And maybe, Isabel thought one crisp winter morning as she watched Emily sign a joke to Daniel, that was the true miracle she had been searching for all along. Not a cure, not perfection, but connection. If this story touched your heart, please help us continue sharing moments like this. Like the video, subscribe to Kindness Thread, and share it so more people can believe in the power of small acts of kindness. And before you go, we have a special request. Leave a comment telling us about a time when a stranger's kindness changed your life. Your story might inspire someone who needs it today.